Money is the great revealer. If you're worried you're gonna make a lot of money and become a rotten apple, the truth is you're probably a rotten apple already. Have you ever heard, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, or what do you think we are, made of money? All of these things, these phrases that we sometimes say or we've heard or when we grew up, were ingrained in us, now set a framework for us about how we think, how we act when it comes to money. Over the years, I've sort of identified some of these myths that are out there that I've seen that people say all the time. They say without thinking. And then when you really step back, you think, is that true? Is that accurate? And how that frames the way we think about money. In fact, what's also fascinating is these things become so ingrained that they often are one of the reasons why we're held back to making more money or having the amount of money that we want. So today I want to tackle a few of these myths and share with you my thoughts on them. So the first one I hear all the time, and you've probably caught yourself saying it, is, well, money doesn't equal happiness. Well, no kidding. Money and happiness are separate. They're two separate things. In fact, I bet you can think of somebody who has a lot of money who's miserable. But on the same is true, you've probably met somebody who has a lot of money who's also happy. And so what if the two things actually had nothing to do with each other? That you could be happy without and happy with. But I will tell you, having been in both spots in my life, it's much easier to be happier with money than without. One of the top 3 reasons that most people get divorced or separate has to do with financial reasons. So to say, well, I can be happy without, sure you can, but having money also helps that process. You can choose to be happy regardless, but it's easier if you have the money to go with it. Number 2, I hear this one a lot, and in different ways I hear this one, which is, well, I don't want to make a lot of money because it will change me, or I'm worried it will change me. Here's the truth. Money is the great revealer. If you're worried you're going to make a lot of money and become a rotten apple, the truth is you're probably a rotten apple already, and you just need to look inside because the money is simply and merely just going to reveal that to the world. So if you make a lot of money, and when you do, what will happen is that goodness inside of you will be revealed. You'll be able to help more people. You'll be able to donate to the things that add value to your life. I love when I'm able to donate to friends or to church or to charity or help out when there's a need versus when I can't. I can think back to a time when my wife and I really didn't have much at all. And I remember sitting in a restaurant one time talking about and seeing something and being like, hey, we really wish we could help. And it was like so frustrating to be in a spot that our heart wanted to, yet our wallet wasn't able to. And so this whole idea that it will change you, what I'm telling you is it'll just reveal you. So focus on who you are now. So as you build that money, it will be able to help you and it will just reveal who you are. All right, this one is probably one of my favorites because I have said it on a number of occasions. And sometimes just because one statement is true doesn't mean the opposite isn't. So here's what it is. It's better to give than to receive. Well, true, it is good to give, but is it better to give than to receive? See, here's the thing. You can't give. In the previous example I just talked about where my wife and I wanted to give, yes, it is better. We wanted to give, but we couldn't give because we haven't received enough to be able to share. See, you can't give from an empty purse. And I think this is the myth. The myth is that, well, I don't need to receive because it's better for me to give, but you have nothing to give. So I remember this years ago when I was doing some service work, some missionary work, and someone stopped by on the side of the road. I was getting ready to cross the street and they pulled up and their window rolled down. They were actually in this big motorhome and they pulled up and the window rolled down. And a woman just, her hand comes out this passenger side window and she hands us $100. And I'm like, what's this? She goes, hey, go buy yourself lunch. Merry Christmas. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And she's like, no, please take it. I was so of the understanding, like I have enough, I have what I need, that I'm good. Like this could go to somebody. Somebody's in more need than me, right? And she finally, in a very direct and stern voice, she says, I'm trying to bless your life. Why are you denying that for me? And I was like, oh my goodness. So of course we took it. I still remember it so clearly to this day because it was such a lesson. Like she has something to give. She's chosen to give it to me in that moment. I need to receive it. See, the hand that's open to giving is also open to receiving. I need to be a good receiver as well. And so we get in these myths where it's like, it's better to give than to receive. So I'm constantly pushing, right? I'm pushing stuff out. But if you look at it, my hands are blocking the ability to receive. And some of us, the reason why we're not getting more in our life or making the kind of money we want is because we're sending out these signals of like, I'm good, I have enough. I see it all the time. I see people who stand up in these networking meetings that say, hey, I'm so busy right now, busier than I've ever been. Psychologically, I'm thinking if you're so busy, like, and you don't have time and you're not showing up for things, I'm thinking you're giving so much, you have nothing more to receive. So I actually don't send you anything more. It happens often. So remember, catch the things you're saying because you're putting out a signal to the world. All right, my last one here is this phrase. I don't need to invest or learn how to sell because I can save my way to wealth. And there are people out there teaching this. There are people out that say, if you save a couple dollars a day and you put it here and you let it build over time. Well, here's the thing. What guarantee do you have that much time? Who's guaranteed that to you? That somehow the path is put $5 away every day. And again, it's not that that's bad. If you look at every one of these myths that I'm telling you, in and of themselves are not bad, but is there a better? Does it mean that there's not something else that's true with it? Should you save $5 a day? Sure. But is that the path to wealth? No. In fact, there's proof and studies and things that show, and you can do calculations that show that won't get you to wealth. And you've got to, what kind of a plan is that to put $5 aside if that's the only plan, and then one day wake up when you're 60 or 65 and you've got enough to live? What happened to all those years in between, right? And so you can't save yourself to wealth. Now, does that mean saving is bad? No, I'm very much pro saving, but that can't be the only path. And so what I encourage you to do is look at what are opportunities to increase my income. I talk about it in my 3 money disciplines. How do I make more money? How do I manage it? And how do I multiply it? All 3 of those are important. And part of the managing is saving, but that's only part of the equation. And what most people do is they try to make that the plan. There's 3 elements to that plan. So these are some of the money myths that I've come across in my life. I'd love to hear from you what some of yours are, whether you agree or disagree. Put them in the comments. Share with me what your money myths are. If this was helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe and share this with a friend. Remember, look back. What are the things you're saying? Because thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, and the habits lead to results. So what are the thoughts you have that you're saying internally, your own self-talk when it comes to money? If you change this, you change everything.